Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the Vagrant. I am thinking now as I'm experimenting with the subscribe video popping up, it seems like it only works half the time, so I don't think my settings are quite right. And honestly, I think it needs to probably pop up much faster than 5 seconds into the recording. Does that have anything to do with the actual footage here, or is that just a total distraction? It's just a total distraction. That being said, there's really not a lot going on with this game other than just a bunch of backstory, generic backstory that I can't really say I'm appreciating too much of. We are seeing the beginnings. Boy, did that feel a little wonky when hitting all of the vines there, and there's just nothing in this room at all. Interesting. Or at least there's nothing in this room until I walk backwards, which may be that this is what this whole area is setting itself up for, is you'll walk through it once on easy and then you'll end up fighting them on a second run through. Could also be that there's enemy triggers in the air, which that doesn't quite make any sense. Right, so we got a split, so let's go to the left here. We've got a decent amount of grinding. We want gold, we want mana. These guys, these ghosts, like to just float around. And seeing ghosts in the first area made some sense. At this point, seeing ghosts in a second area stops to make as much sense. And I guess I'm starting to take more damage because, yeah, that's not really working. I was at full health when we started this recording 2 minutes ago and I nearly died. Help me. Please, you have to help me. He's going to kill me. Don't let him tell you that he's my father. He looks like my father, but he's not. So scared. I'm so scared. Father never came back from the way. He told me to call this person father, but he's not my father. Where's my father? So is this supposed to be a little boy or a little girl? We can't really tell. I'll just assume little boy. Although he doesn't quite look like the other little boy in the game. He came to my room. I hid under my bed then. ... I don't remember. I'm here now, but my real father will come and save me. Yes, he will come and save me. So, yeah. Seems like they're relying too much on the same gimmick multiple times now. Increase an attack by 5 versus taking 10% less damage. Honestly, increase defense by 10 is something we should experiment with more. At least by fighting small enemies. It does just seem weirdly like variations on a theme that... Where is this gonna go? The whole room is just gonna wrap around? I guess that is the case. Why would there be vines up in the air? Well, it colored me confused because it does just kind of feel like what's going on here is that the path is wrapping itself around. Go ahead and save. I guess we could travel if necessary. and that maybe there's some level in which we'll just get a default ability that is a double jump on top of a double jump. Killing these guys is not going to give significant amounts of damage. We are down to a point where it does seem like the barrels are finally being destroyed in one hit. But I don't know if we're accomplishing too much here. Yeah, there's too many particle effects that seem like they happen when you break those vines, which probably highlights that this game is not as well optimized as you would like. But yeah, grinding for like 1 mana, 1 coin is not enough. It's not worth your time. Apparently I just walked over a magical trap. We're seeing some variety here. And if the particle effects there are in such a way that they slow down things, that kind of limits your odds of... Does this burn you? Running into a lot of encounters with enemies that would have a lot of particle effects showing up, unless it's specifically the particle effects of breaking vines that is just not optimized. Yeah, it feels like we're going to just burn through this entire area unless this entire area is actually going to turn into a illusion, since this is supposed to be an illusion area, and we're going to end up actually unlocking something else. Increase max rage, great. The sky crystal suit we would want to equip. Most other things we're getting doesn't matter. No, I can't go home like this. My head is gone. My family won't recognize me. I have to find a way to put it back on. You. How I envy you. You've still got your head. May I offer you some advice? Be careful in this place. People tend to lose their heads here. See, and it almost feels like this is supposed to be a joke character and that he's supposed to just be joking, but everything is localized in such a serious way. Honestly, I think this game, had it been localized to English as don't take this too serious, this is all a joke. We've got a character here with with bikini armor and a ton of cleavage showing, so obviously you're not supposed to take it seriously. But it just doesn't really play off that way. It feels like you're supposed to take it serious. The Slayers anime definitely feels like it has some influence on this game. Slayers is a long-running, old, early 90s, late 80s anime series that had a character with a lot of cleavage that I think inspired the character design of this character. Although she wasn't the main protagonist. He rides on horseback. He has no head of his own. Perhaps he hopes to find a new head to replace the missing one. So they're now talking about just like the headless horseman. But I'm not dead. No, not dead at all. Do you believe that? Do you think my family would believe that? Do not worry. I'm sure it sure is inconvenient to lose your head. No, it can't go on like this. How depressing. That was a lot of dialogues there to get to the end, to really not do anything. It feels like we're going to fight the Headless Horseman, whereas the enemies we fought before this point have not been particularly recognizable characters. They've all been original creations. Now it feels like they may be going a little lazy. Although, in all fairness, Castlevania has Dracula as the main bad guy in most of the games. Ahead, I must find a head. Another demon? Bring it on, Torso Boy. Yeah. Is there anything particularly unique about this Headless Horseman? Well, it's a black horse with a lot of armor and a black suit of armor. It's not terribly animated. It's not colorful like the main character Vivian, certainly, but it feels pretty in line. Yes, your pretty head will do. Alright, so. So. The first fight, you probably will die because you just don't know what's going on. So, dodging an attack you've never seen before seems unlikely. That makes an argument for potentially having the enemies attack someone else before they attack the main character, so you can see some of their attacks. But you really only need to do that if there's going to be an attack that does a massive amount of damage. Otherwise, you should just learn as you go forward. And this is mostly just butt mashing and pressing B on occasion, and pressing the right trigger button to dodge and dash, and there is really seemingly not a big difference between the dodging and the dashing effect. It does seem like it's fairly acceptable. Let's bring our health refill up from the smallest of points to the higher points. I wonder if I'm supposed to be attacking the head point there. The ghosts appearing here don't really do anything. So it still very much is just a little too button mashy, I would say. Like it's XXXY, XXXY, B, on occasion, XY, XY. We'll go ahead and use another potion. We don't need to be shy on using potions. Yeah, and we're just gonna get this all done. See, this is the problem though, is that 3 or 4 boss fights now, which are coming fairly too frequently, they just don't have an ability in which you can really mash the button and get big combos. You only get big combos when you're fighting multiple enemies that are particularly weak and not hitting back like the chicken, which I guess that explains why I got an achievement for doing a 100 hit combo on the chicken, because I don't think I've actually gotten that combo on any other enemies. The other enemies just die too fast. This might be an illusion fight and we have to fight them a second time. But that would be kind of boring. Like, we could fight all of the enemies a second time later on. That might make some sense. But I also don't want like a boss rush at the end of the game. I cannot end. I've yet to find my head. If I come across it, I'll be sure to send it your way. Then we get an achievement for defeating that. And see, that 3-hit combo didn't feel like that led towards getting more gold or reward, which arguably maybe you should be getting more of a gold or reward here based on the combos. But then the game wouldn't be very balanced if that was the way things worked. Alright. Either we save up for 5,000 here, or we potentially just increase our luck, which I don't think luck is helping us enough. And skills. Extremely fast assault that breaks through the toughest of enemies for 125. The problem with that is if I did equip it, my rage would have to be at the maximum before I could use it, and until I either increase my rage quite a bit, I probably should just not use that item. Of course, I have more often by far accidentally used rage attacks than intentionally used rage attacks. Right. You approach me without fear. Good. I have something you may need. I will part with this for a very fair price. Right, so we can buy more potions. It doesn't seem like they're selling anything else special. Alright. So let's go through this door. End up with some elixirs. And this door was blocked before. Problem here is we still see a treasure chest up there. So let's look at the abilities and see if there is some kind of triple jump. Which means we need to find where we unlock the double jump. It would probably be something special. Rising action, power upper, impulse blade, ability to jump once more, drop kick in the air, weave in attacks. Yep. This is the double kick, double jump here. We need Thunderheart to do that. In the way that was described, let's go back and look at that. It says ability to jump once more while in the air. So double jump itself must be something that we unlock. And this would be a triple jump. Alright, so just keep on saving. We definitely are running into more repeated fast travel sections. Normally I would avoid gossiping at all costs, but given the current state, I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. The Lord of Santiago, I am Lord Santiago's butler. His Grace fought bravely in the war against the Esconian kingdom. Since His Grace's return, young master has seemed to be quite afraid of him. If only I was more careful then. Circumstances may be different now. The young master fell from the stairs and was injured his neck. Oh, he was such a lovely young soul. It broke my heart to see him pass, but in His Grace seemed unaffected. Tales were told about Lord Santiago's armor and horse being seen outside the city. I do not recall him returning with either. I decided to investigate. So I guess this is the idea. Instead of the king turning into a monster and eating everybody, now we have a different king that was replaced by the Headless Horseman. or something like that, and that the person pretending to be king stole the head of the actual king, and the actual king turned into the headless horseman, doing just kind of the same thing back to back as a concept. It feels kind of repetitive and boring. And talking to all these ghosts is definitely not what I was expecting in this game. Yeah, generally speaking, when you think about a Metroid game, you don't talk to anybody in most of them. You just go about your business. And it's more action because of that. So if only I could find out sooner, then young master had been saved. The man who's returned from war was not the true Santiago. Someone stole his face along with his identity and wealth. I was killed when I found when that foul demon found out I knew. But now I know the truth. Lord Santiago was brutally murdered by this scoundrel. His head, the horrible fiend, took his head. Now his grace wanders the land searching for a replacement. My dear lady, you are blessed with the ability to control mana. If you were not, you wouldn't be able to communicate with the departed wretch like such as myself. I beg you, please avenge the young master and the true Santiago. I would be willing to offer you something in return that may aid you in your journey. Please inform me of your progress when you can. Right. Again, just a lot of dialogue there. Right. And that way, seems like that's the shortcut. So I guess this is the long way. And so let's just do the long way. Do we have the best reasons to do the long way? I feel like the reason you want to do the long way is probably to grind out currency and items. That's 100 mana, 100 mana, 100 mana. Seems very consistent. And this at least lets me kind of warm up my fingers. 10 coins for every silver coin. It's possible that we might have like a chase sequence through mini rooms. That would be at least something slightly different. Kind of looks like there might be a treasure chest back there, but there's no way to really reach it. And again, feels like they've designed this in such a way that there are enemies that are either triggering at random for how long you're standing around in a place. To swim across an ocean, one mustn't be a fool. That's why this scaly creature is always in school. A fish? I guess that's the answer to that riddle. I don't know why I need to know the answer to the riddle. We've got a lot of audio playing. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? That man, he invited me to the ball I've always dreamed of then. Then we fell in love. Oh, such a love we had. Oh, how wonderful to be made a countess. But he hasn't spoken to me in so long. Did I do something wrong? Why won't he speak to me anymore? And so, I guess that's a countess girl, but you can't really tell. She's just curled up. Yeah, that could have been a guy or a girl, as far as I can tell. Yeah. There really is just nothing in these rooms, though. Alright. Alright. There are multiple paths here. Fairly obviously. And you've got to go up. So it almost feels like the game is encouraging the idea of going the other way if you're just really bad at platforming, or is still just trying to accommodate people that don't even have the double jump unlocked as an ability. Which, yeah, I could see some players spending their mana differently. I really kind of like the Gothic architecture that is happening here. Well, I'm definitely not enjoying that, though. The same gimmick being done multiple times with characters, monsters holding things up. So yeah, the shortcut would have, I guess, gotten you to the boss fight, and getting to the boss fight would have led. Not sure if I'm supposed to go down this way. Just do a strong attack. Oh, seriously. It's way too easy to fall down to your death. And way too easy to end up in a tailspin. Maybe the controls would be a little bit tighter. If I was using the D-pad, but I imagine not. Nope. If anything, it feels like it's more difficult to control. And here you have a guy in anguish statue, which I've wanted to point out that looks interesting. Cannons taking too much effort to destroy. Let's go check out this room. If this room led to a lot of backtracking to a new area, I would be somewhat surprised. We're seeing fairly new characters that do seem like they have enough health. What I don't feel like is going to happen here, though, is that this is the entrance to the Castlevania castle of the game, and that we're going to stay in this castle for a long time. Still don't think I have an attack here that wraps upward well enough, so that feels weird. And I have to remember that the map doesn't actually pause the game. Can we hit these sacks? No. So either we're going to end up fighting harpies. That's a new statue. Or in only this area. or they might be involved in the boss fight. It'd be funny if this all wraps around and this is the direction to go. Okay. So we're going that way. Let's just double check. Yep. We must be getting some ability that either allows us to climb this wall or run up this wall. Which we obviously don't have that now. Or that wall goes away and that lets us go higher. So going the wrong way is not really a problem. That just allows us to grind more, get more mana and gold, which we need. We now know. Like that path led to this one room, which I don't know, maybe this means the whole room is not connected. We've got big old balls of monstrosities. Okay. We've got flying monsters. I guess what's going to happen here, potentially, I probably need to get better at dodging these types of enemies. Oh, and I did not expect that to hit me and turn me to stone. So, yeah, I guess what potentially is going to happen here... Can we jump down from this? Nope, but we should take a moment to refill our health, because we are nearly poisoned to death. Up. I guess the good news is most of these things do seem to stay destroyed. Even when you leave the room and come back to the room later. This game really is going to give us a puzzle. I was getting burnt there, by the way. I was just not really getting knocked back. That's going to be something different. The balance is important and constant as the tides. If it's right lower than the left, it must be even. It must even both sides. So if you want to lower, if the right is lower than the left, it must be even on both sides. Alright, we'll take that information. So it definitely seems like this is going to be a puzzle that they were afraid we wouldn't figure out, so seriously, they've gone out of their way to try and make sure you get a lot of hints. I've also overlapped enough of this so that it's highly unlikely that would happen. Of course, everything is possible. When there's nothing attacking you, jumping up is not that difficult. But when something is attacking you, it becomes more difficult. Seems like every time you break one of these green barrels, you get an antidote, but then you never have any other need for the antidotes at all, so... Okay, you have the Ice Essence, which unlocks a new ability. I almost wonder if there is a thought process here. I'll just fall off the edge there. That you would be rushed out of this area, and so you'd miss these treasure chests items. Definitely seems like this is the way to exit. Yeah, toggle the lever. Maybe that means now we can walk through that green path. We're just now back in this room. Okay. May be in a bad position now though, because we may have to jump way down here and start all over again. Wasn't expecting people. Let's see. Item, equipment, potion, medium potions is what I want equipped, I guess. Accessories, we'll stick with what we've got. Chain armor is nothing. This weapon at 132 would probably be hard to beat. But there is an argument here, certainly, to wearing the iceberg. This would make you immune to petrified conditions, which perhaps that is the smarter move. We're starting to get weapons that do stand out as potentially being replacements for this Straying Knight. I guess the question is just how often am I going to let those hit me? And now it's just a mad dash to try and get back up here. Most of the things did not respawn. The knockback is way worse on most of these enemies than the actual damage you're taking. Okay. Well, that one caused me to take damage and be knocked down. It didn't cause me to... Seriously. Well, I don't think I can get up there anyways. So I'm just gonna have to hope that we can come back to this area when we have the triple jump and that this is the right direction to go. Otherwise, it may very well be a case that this is the way I was supposed to go anyways, is that you have to wrap yourself around this tower. Am I actually doing anything that's intelligent, or am I actually just doing a side quest where I might end up fighting the wrong boss in the wrong order? I might be straight up missing some dialogue or cutscene element. Up until this game, the game has been very careful and cautious around kind of forcing you to play in a very specific order. If all of a sudden that's not the case, and you can play out of order, getting that ghost to come downward takes too long. It may be that the game is opening up a little bit, and you can just play out of order. And so maybe that question mark over on the right doesn't matter, or maybe we would have gotten to that question mark and just found we couldn't actually do anything anyways. We may have to just fight harpies to get a harpy's wing to then be able to move forward. Or maybe we would have found that there was a door with a golden lock, and so we needed a golden key that we just found. Oh man, that took forever. So here we have a ghost with some cleavage, so at least we know it's a female. Don't ask me, I won't say a word. I won't tell anyone His Grace would kill me, just like he killed Annie. No, I didn't say anything. Please, Your Grace, I didn't mean to. Even if I did tell, it would make no difference, would it? An eye, he's holding an eye in his hands. No, arg. An eye, he's holding an eye in his hands. So maybe we're supposed to attack an eye if we fight this bad guy holding an eye. Here you have what looks like some kind of magical oven or forge, which maybe we'll do something with that. Beyond that, we can also see people just straight up hanging. Boy, that's particularly gory for what I would assume is a Japanese game. Like, they really don't like gore in Japanese games. There's a lot of the zero rating system not allowing gore, a lot of history of vivisections and mutilations in the history of Japan and its older history, and it's just not something you would have expected. That being said, even when there is games like Resident Evil where there is gore, those are still being made by Japanese people. So the artists, I guess, are not really opposed to creating that kind of content as much as the more censorious ratings board is interested in that. A damaged item in the chest. Alright, well I guess that tells me going forward that those kinds of items need a key. Oh man. Which means that potentially was a good key. Are we anywhere near a save point though? What was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to press up and see if I could unlock it that way with the gold key, or would you have needed a different key? We've had a rusted key before that opened a door. We're getting far too many of these statue designs in the background, and inherently that shows that the idea of paying somebody to draw background art will get you very interesting background art, but potentially won't put the emphasis in the art in the foreground with the game, with the actual action that's happening on the screen. We have another character just holding itself. Please, I beg of you, don't go any further. It's for your own good. He is a gentleman, the Count. But no, going further is suicide. He'll give you everything you promised, but it's worth nothing in the end. I'm now stuck in this place. Now, my grudge keeps me here. But you can still. I'm sticking to this place. Now, my grudge keeps him here, but you can still. Alright, so that's where that ends. And then we have yet another statue. Prompt. While journeying to battle, take heed of what you wear, and don't forget when suiting up, I'm always worn in pair. Boots, gloves, could be boots, could be gloves, yeah, I don't know what else would be worn in pairs. Gauntlets. Again, just a lot of background art that looks really nice, but doesn't really mean anything. Yep. And further we go. Now we're in that tall area, but we're above the other section. There is a monster in Castlevania that's like a big ball of bodies. I think that character is probably a reference to that. A lot of these characters are straight up references to Castlevania. Not really saying anything that are references to Metroid. It'd be kind of hard, although the main character is not too different from Samus Aran. It's very easy to forget Samus Aran is blonde. I'm fairly certain she is, because you just see her in her suit the whole time. Though often used in battle, in forest I'm seen, with heavy swipes aplenty, I can fell most any tree. An axe. I don't get... Oops. Again. You needed to have seen the puzzle first before getting all the solutions. And I think I missed something there. I think I probably missed a lot there. Had I been pushing further to the right, I probably would have been able to reach a small side area. But it doesn't feel like you could probably fast travel back to the save point, and maybe that would help you. It almost feels like we're going to unlock flying and not just a triple jump, but then why would you have an ability that was a double jump or triple jump if you were going to unlock flying later? I didn't see anything, I swear. Please, I beg you, I don't want to say. I didn't see Your Grace tear the face off of... Oh, no, I didn't see that. Please don't ask me anymore, I don't know anything. Yep. Yep. We're in the secret basement camp. Yeah, there's no getting back up, though. So was there any reason to do any of that? Like, because it would be a nightmare to have to run through all those rooms and zigzag around. But maybe we did get the gold key, and maybe that's what we needed. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear His Grace ordered the creature to bring girls here. It does seem like this guy is more about slaughtering girls than anything. I didn't hear the thuds of the boy he pushed down the stairs. Why, Mr. Butler, why are you telling me all of this? I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear anything. Okay, so there is a whole puzzle to this that is necessary. So you would have had to have gone to the area, or in a new game plus way, you would have had to have figured it out. Now, I see a fish here. Let's see what happens if we toggle this lever. Well, that was easy. So I thought there would be a lot more to it than that, and that you would have to get it in a certain order, but apparently not. You just have to get a axe, and then a fish and a scales, and I guess those are gloves. And even though you have the white arrows helping you, pointing to them, which is kind of game breaking because they're in front of the screen, you can't interact with them. So I guess what would have happened is if you would have come through this door, you would have just been trapped. So I've done everything the only way it really could have been done. Where am I? Oh, my head. You are where you deserve to be, my lovely. I have prepared a party for you and you alone. Did you? Is that true? Who are you? And so here we have an illusion, and now we have our main protagonist with her hair up, still showing a lot of cleavage, but actually showing considerably less skin than what she's showing when she has her bikini armor on. And behind this bad guy with a mask, you have some faceless servant maid characters with different hair colors. I don't know why I'm particularly describing any of that. I doubt very many people are blind listening to this. But yeah. It's perhaps a little late in the game to do a costume change, and this is almost certainly going to be a temporary costume change. You could have made this into somewhat of a permanent costume change, but I don't see how a blue ball gown dress would work as armor, per se. If anything, her being in a different outfit might push her into putting in a third different outfit, but I bet she just goes back to the bikini armor. I'm your life partner. You will come to call me husband, and you will spend my days as your humble, and I will spend my days as your humble servant. Yes, but what is this feeling, that this emptiness in my heart? Here, nothing. I feel nothing. Fret not, my dear, we shall dance, now and forever. We shall dance. And then we have magical glowing light. Arg, what the devil? Why do you have this? This. So the ring breaks the course. This is an illusion. So if you didn't have that ring, you would have just lost the game now. And we can get a better look at the bad guy. He's more demonic with his pointy ears and floating. This dispel ring, it saved me from the demon's disgusting lies. It's weird to see a game even have a dispel ring. That feels much more like a Dungeons and Dragons thing than a thing that actually gets used in video games. Illusions and illusion spells tend not to actually happen in video games. Even like in Skyrim, I don't think there's a dispel ring that's ever used, even though you do have a couple of illusions. But yeah, that may imply that there's more of a Dungeons and Dragons influence on this game by the creators than you would expect. I see. If this party does not appeal to you, then I don't see how this marriage will work. Alright. Alright. His health is only 1 bar, but he's not taking damage. So what does that tell me? It probably implies that he is an illusion. And his health is going down, it seems like, through killing his enemies, which, okay, then we will just focus on killing the harpy enemies and dodging attacks as best as we can. This is a great example, I think, of the Japanese lines of dialogue needing to be translated. We have a character that's just flat up too high off the screen, and so I can't kill it. Alright, now we have a demon character as a fight, and as I was trying to refill my health, and so now we have this whole new focus. The glowing green, you would think, is something to target, but oddly, it doesn't seem like it's actually taking any damage. In fact, I'm seemingly doing no damage at all to any part of him other than the eye. Alright. So, what's the deal with the tail? Yep. He's not really up in the right angles most of the time to hit him in the eye. So we can see how I'm getting like two hit combos at most. And that is creating a slow experience. I guess it seems like the best move is probably to try and hit with the Y attacks, and it doesn't seem like that quite works. So try and get XXX and then a Y around the eyeball and see if you can get into a spinning attack. But yeah, it definitely feels like if they just moved the position of that gem a foot higher or a foot lower, it would have worked better. We got an achievement for defeating that boss, but no triple jump so far. Consider this a divorce, you hideous creep. And there's the guy holding the eye, doing an illusion spell, I guess. This, how can it be? My love, please don't abandon me. Hee. It's good to see you in such a state, Santiago. Arg, who are you? So the tall tree witch is back. So maybe she had some connection to Santiago more than I thought. Do you not remember your dear Bella? Bella, no, impossible, you're dead. Hee. You ridiculous fool, fate may have given up on Bella, but I never will. And so now she's stabbing him. This sure seems like this is the almost exact same story as the previous castle and the previous encounter. But I drained your life away. Not all of it. You left me as the old husk you see before you. It seems you're in a similar situation now. That's fine by me. Please forgive me. Oh, why did I commit such acts? Bella, my dear, it wasn't me. I was possessed. I was being controlled by a demon. I love you. Now, Santiago here is not the real king. This is the guy that stole the head of the real king. You stole my bracelet and then you murdered me. It was all done by the demon who controlled me. Why would I do such things to the love of my life? Liar, I see nothing but greed and treachery in your eyes. Even in your final moments, you have no true remorse. ... I was going to... I will gouge out your heart to show how black it is. Again, I'm having trouble reading this from 10 feet away. Bella, I really need to fix that. I need to be closer to the monitor. I've run into too many games I've played with too small of text. Bella. Potentially also I'm just getting older and it's getting harder to see. My eyesight's getting a little worse. In one quick moment, Santiago grabs the tall tree witch and jumps off the edge of the cliff, sending the two former lovers plummeting to the distant ground below. I guess that's killing two birds with one stone. This is yet another picture that is not quite centered well enough, so it's cutting off the bottom of it and really isn't showing too much either. What a way for both of them to meet their ends. It's fitting, I suppose. And then we're now back to another stationary image of Hollowborn showing up. And again, this image does not feel particularly well drawn. Hollowborn always came off a little too masculine in the face, and it still seems that way. Well done, Rune Warden. What? So the bracelet is Zoe. Yes, I can feel its power already. I can't believe she caught me by surprise like this. What do I do? Do I make my move now? Do I bide my time? But it was I who retrieved the bracelet, Vivian. She's going to break a promise, but she doesn't seem to notice that I broke the curse she cast on me. I guess I'm about to see what she's truly after. It probably would be wise at this point for her to just straight up attack, unless she knows she can't defeat her. Catching her off guard, if Hollowborn thinks the curse is still on her, would be your opportunity. Attack or run. Staying around is too risky. The uncertainties are too high. But you did aid me in some capacity, so. Hypocritical Academy scum. But now I've got a well-trained dog. If I were to set it free, what guarantee do I have that you wouldn't bite? You're crueler than you look. Perhaps. You don't know who you're dealing with. I know enough, Rune Warden. Now, for your next task. I need you to escort Camden to Magnus's workshop in Hallandale Mountain. And I suppose I will be destroyed if I refuse. To put it bluntly, yes, the curse was engineered from the very runecraft you practice. If you were to break it, the resulting spectacle would be quite a sight to see. Then I am at your service. That's a good dog. I await your return. It's kind of pointless to have that cutscene in full screen with Holodin being depicted when we've had 2 other cutscenes where Holodin is just talking to Camden. What it would have implied if we hadn't seen Holodin since the beginning of the game is that she was slowly morphing and turning into a monster, but now that we've seen it, we've proven that that's not the case. So is this supposed to be the true form of the old witch? But what I saw, corpses, so many corpses, those poor young girls, just like me. But then what? Why can I remember nothing else? Seems to end that way. And this isn't just an invisible wall. Well, this creates a weird problem now. Like, I guess we just have to kind of assume that we're going through this game twice, potentially. Because nothing else really makes sense. Right. This is just a safe spot. We're getting now like 101 mana instead of 100. Which is not much of an upgrade. And so we go through here. Justice has been performed. You have my deepest gratitudes. Now have a crystal. What was the crystal for? Attack by 5, defense by 5, attack by 5. I don't think these accessories do anything different. And I don't think there's still quite enough of an argument to upgrading your weapons. So, was that a consumable crystal? Or is it a... Yeah, it's just something that you sell. So we just got some money for doing all of that. Meanwhile, we're still just trying to wait until we have 5,000 mana, which is not that much. Right, so what I want to do is go to the church tower, fast travel there, and then run this way. And we'll just ignore all of that and run this way. Right, so this gets us into this extra room, which I want to figure out what the deal about the extra rooms are. We're now seeing environmental enemies that I wouldn't have expected. I didn't realize I could be frozen like that. Come on. So there's one more ghost here. Haha, catch me if you can. Haha. You can't catch me, your grace. Try as you might, haha. Oh, you caught me. I don't care. I don't care if you have other mistresses, your grace. As long as the feeling never stops, I don't mind, not one bit. Hello there, would you like to join us? We can serve His Grace together. I'm sure you wouldn't mind. A new addition, haha. Yep. So that's just another lady. Okay. We do have one gold key, so we'll get that. And now we have Blessing Seal because of that. Which, what is Blessing Seal? Is it a accessory? Yes. Increase rage regain by 1. Which I have no idea what my rage regain is by default, but I would imagine defense by 10 is better. So breaking those is not that big of a deal. We will try not to break them, and we'll question, I suppose, if there is... Yeah, I suspect there's not a floor at all in that room. I guess we'll just have to question whether we can use the gold key multiple times. I wouldn't be surprised if you can't, which might mean that there's possibly another gold key in this area I've missed, or maybe we will just use the gold key multiple times. Definitely want to save. I guess the question just comes down to, do we want to travel through the entire area again after we save? I don't think it is worth it to probably travel through the entire area. It would give us an opportunity to grind, certainly. But definitely does just feel like going Wheaton City. What would be the closest place? Deep in the cemetery. See where that takes us. Yeah. This takes us exactly where we would want. And I think saves us a decent amount of frustration. To just walk to the right. So let's just go ahead and save again. Just so we're in the right position. Yeah. Certainly seems like we would be going towards the northern border at this point and to another quest. We're probably not going back to Mythrilia. We may go back to Mythrilia at some point. Let's see. We're still somewhat trapped around hoping to get the scavenge ability, and that way we get 5% more gold, because it does seem like gold will potentially be a factor. We still are looking for a whole bunch more mana, and perhaps there is an argument that after we get the scavenge ability we'll just try to increase our luck to increase the chances of getting more mana. As far as the game is concerned, we're very far down here in chapters. We fought 2 enemies in Count of Piety and the Devourer. Plus we also fought the Headless Horseman in that last fight. So it's been like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours, and we fought 3 more enemies. There's maybe 10 more enemies in total. Am I counting right? Yeah, 9 more enemies, so there might only really be somewhere around 4.5 hours left in the entire game. That might be a good estimate. We saw a lot of new enemies in this new area, which I think is filling out our items fairly quickly. Oh, these harpies, I guess, were once a innocent young girl who had her heart removed and found herself transformed into a vampiric monster. And then the Turned Lady is a feral humanoid cat that once was an innocent woman who had her heart was removed by Santiago. So these monsters we were fighting were women, which makes that last fight a little bit more tragic in that we were killing what were once humans, although in all fairness, zombies also seem to have been made from humans, and a lot of these characters, I guess, seem like they were humans once. There's still a lot of question marks, but the question marks are getting filled in as far as enemies, and I'm not sure if we're going to see the Frost Raven very often. Yep, seems like it definitely feels like there's a bit of an imbalance. Why is the dead space, I mean, dead zone on the controller was totally messed up there. It was just moving all the way to the right. Yeah, I question whether we're going to be able to unlock all of this in 4.5 hours. But it's possible. It certainly is possible, because the game may just get that more generous with its items being dropped. But it does seem like the end is fairly near, and unless this game was going to do something amazing to heavily encourage us to play it a second time, I doubt my critical is going to get up to a 50% chance or higher. I doubt luck is going to get much higher than 20 or 30. I doubt my health and HP and rage are going to get up to even 300 points at most throughout the game. Yeah, and I don't know what this game really could offer in the New Game Plus. Although, if it just got rid of all the dialogue and all the cutscenes, and a lot of this dialogue I'm bringing on myself because I'm engaging with it when I really could just walk past the ghosts and not talk to them, you could, without all the dialogue, run through this game a second time, and it would take considerably less time once you knew everything. But you would just be fighting the same enemies a second time, and I don't know where you would get any variety from that. They could have more attack and more damage and defense, but that would probably be the only thing that changes. And none of these boss fights have cycles in their fights that are that interesting or that many varied attack patterns. The AI here is not amazingly good as far as what you're fighting, and your movement tech with a double jump potentially turning into a triple jump and a dash and dodge is not smooth enough as an experience. And that's almost certainly why most games that would be like this end up being turn-based in their gameplay, is because programming smooth handling and smooth controlling characters for hack and slash gameplay can be very difficult. And hack and slash gameplay can also go in very crazy directions too, because there's a game called The Dishwasher Vampire Smile that's on Steam, and there was a game called The Dishwasher that was an Xbox 360 exclusive, I think, and never got released on PC. That both of those games in that series just cause a ridiculous amount of button mashing, and you just have to move so fast to do hack and slashing that you're going to get blisters on your thumbs. It's so demanding. Anyways, we're going too long and I'm kind of rambling here, so that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.